Can you see me all right? Or do you need me to put up a background?
So, good afternoon and welcome to this edition of Generación STEM Get Future Ready live stream. My name is Marifer Zavala, Graduate Assistant for Generación STEM at Texas State. I'm so excited to be back for another Get Future Ready session. This week, I am joined by a very special guest, Samantha Oviawe, programmer at American Airlines. Samantha, it's a pleasure to be able to chat with you today about your work as a programmer at American Airlines.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to this too. This is exciting.
Definitely. We'll get into more of the technical part of this conversation. Can you please give us a little bit of background about yourself?
Yes. So essentially, I graduated from Texas State back in 2021. I had a digital media innovation major with a business administration minor. After college, I decided to move to Arizona and just kind of pursue more of the IT world. So that's how I initially got more into like my development, like that avenue. And now I've been here for about a year. So I'm almost in Arizona. I'm basically an Arizona resident now officially. But besides that, in college, I pursued a lot of different events. I mean, clubs and in the range of like either website design or anything in regards to creating content. And yeah, so I guess in terms of who I am on a career aspect, like I've always revolved around just like either creating content or pursuing challenges that revolve anything in the tech world. That could be from like website designing, like I mean we'll get into it deeper later, but like development or like even just like creating like some kind of content, like either written platform like through a blog or audio. So that's just a little bit about me. And I'm also 23 years old.
Well, that sounds great. And what are the different types of roles you have worked in before?
Mm-hmm. So initially, I started off my whole journey in terms of even just trying to figure out what exactly I wanted to do. I started off by just like playing around with different um, areas of my career. So I started off with like logo designing. And then after I got a feel for like maybe that design world, I felt like, okay, maybe I can help someone or a company, like a little startup, like start something and help them through like the technological side. So then from the logo, I ended up making a connection and being able to assist someone and be able to revamp their website, help, anything that revolved around their online presence. Like I initially assisted in a way. And then after that, I knew that I liked the design aspect. And in my like specific career avenue, there's like two different options, whether if it's like front end development or back end development. And front end revolved a lot about like the design aspect, the aesthetic, the user integration. And that is something that I guess really stood out to me just because from like the background that I had or the experience through school where we created a lot of websites and we dealt with a lot of like interactivity. I feel like that was the right place for me. I started. I apologize for that. I started off with working. Sorry, did you hear that on my computer?
Yes, but that's fine.
I know sometimes when I get a call, like it'll ring on my computer. I'm so sorry. But what I was saying was I started off with a different company and I was their front end development and I was their only in-house developer. So a lot of the things that I had to do were just based off of my own knowledge, my own experience. So I was able to start off on like a contract um, opportunity. And I got 6 months to be able to just learn and experience and practice on my own and just like really work one-on-one with like project managers or anything in revolves to that. So my initial experience was on my own. And then eventually I was able to, through that experience, kind of just gauge more or less what I wanted to do and what I was more interested in or the things that I liked and I didn't like. Everything was very trial and error based. And eventually it led me to American Airlines, where now I'm I would say it's more of a full stack where we do a little bit with like UI, which is like the user interactivity, but also a lot of backend data. So that's more or less, I guess, the rundown of my little journey here. Um, and yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about your typical day in your role as American Airline,
Mhm.
working in American Airlines as a programmer?
So essentially, everything is just like it's a learning journey. I guess that's their approach within their career, like, or I guess their company, I'm sorry. So no matter how long you've been there, whether 10, 15, 20, or even just like 3 days a week, like their whole approach is just like a continuous journey just because things are always changing and things are always updating. So a day, I guess, in a way, I guess in a better way to formulate it, like let's say like a week in my life, I dedicate like maybe 30 to 40% of my time to just learning. And that could be either picking up a language or working with practicing a language. I'm currently learning Java, which throughout the progress of my career, I've learned JavaScript, I've learned HTML, CSS. That was with my educational background. But then I had to learn JavaScript. Now I'm learning Java. And outside of that, we learn like different like framework environments. But within the company, I'm able to learn. So it's not something that I had to, I mean, obviously having like some programming experience was well needed, but the whole approach here is just to learn and get better and be able to have more of a voice within the company. So yeah, 30% I dedicate to just learning, and the other like 70 to 60, it's more project based. So we either work with analyzing data or formulating, or even just like formulating a strategy to automate data. And it's all trial and error. And I work with a team. Um, and yeah, it's very fun, very interesting. It does challenge me and puts things to the test. But other than that, I think it's really great.
Yes, that sounds so amazing. And we want to ask you, if a student was considering this career path, what things can they do while in school to better prepare them for this type of role?
Okay. Um, I mean, I kind of just slid into it. Like it was just a very natural experience. Even back in college, I didn't really have an exact idea of like what exactly I wanted to do. I was taking classes and I could picture myself, doing like either social media or either I don't know, website designing or whatever the case, but I didn't have an idea or a name to it at all. It took me up until my last semester of college, or when I took my last 2 semesters. So one of them I took like a coding class, and then the second semester was an advanced coding, and that's when I realized, okay, I think I like code. Like I think I'm good at this. I think I can work with this. So then after college, I always had that kind of like, I guess my experience with those classes had an imprint on my mind. But I didn't know where to go, how to go about it. I didn't really understand what being a developer technically meant. I just had like some sort of idea, but I didn't understand like where do I go, what kind of jobs do I apply to, like what does one do. So it kind of like just eased in very naturally. But I will say that um, if I could go back, I would. I mean, based off of my experience and my interest, I think I would actively, if I knew I wanted to go into like the programming world, I would actively seek out either resources to where I could be able to practice or learn, or even clubs where you can learn how to code or practice even better. And if you don't have that available to you, online, majority of my learning is online. So I would kind of like start learning or picking up a couple languages or even picking up one and just kind of getting an idea and seeing like, is this something that I'm interested in? Like, if there's something that I could do. There's so many like fun projects online on YouTube where you can just code something like cool or fun from scratch, and you'll still get that like experience while also having a little bit of fun. So if I could go back and be able to do that, if I could have made up, I guess, had more of a idea of what I wanted to do and I can go back and like read or like learn, I feel like that would have been very beneficial for me. But if that's not the case for you, that's okay, because I mean, it wasn't the case for me and I was still able to learn, still learning now every day, um, and just kind of like get my feet wet with different little avenues and then being able to figure out what I wanted within while being within the real world. There was no like urgency or rush.
Yes, and we already kind of touched base on this, but
Mhm.
from your perspective, what is a skill set that you think that students should prioritize developing outside of the classroom? And is there a particular professional skill that you would emphasize important in your line of work?
Okay, so first, the first question, can you like elaborate on that exactly?
So this could be just a professional type of skill set, or it could also
Okay.
just be um, just any other type of
Like
person
more
skill
like
set that is
qualifications.
useful for career development
Mm-hmm.
purposes.
So, once again, based off my own experience, when I was doing pursuing the digital media degree, it's very general. It's more like it's almost like if you're thinking about like marketing or math, it's almost like a very general major. So I was able to learn how to create a podcast or an audio formatted content. I was able to learn video formatted content while at the same time I was able to learn how to do like the basics of code. So we at the time we touched on so many different like I guess genres within that like digital space. So in terms of qualifications, I feel like going pursuing that career or that degree really did add so many different skill sets to me, my resume. I was able to have not only these skill sets but a little bit of experience based off of projects. I also did seek out an internship throughout my college education. So I was able to practice a lot of the things that I was learning. I was able to practice them in real life or real time, I guess. So in terms of like seeking out skill sets, the degree itself through Texas State was such a great resource, great opportunity. I came out of school with having, at least something to show within the first couple of months. I didn't have to, start from the ground up after school. But I will say, like, seeking maybe an internship, or even, like I said, like if you're sure about this is what I want to do, I'm interested in computer programming. I would obviously seek out like source online or even like professors. There's so many professors, even professors that weren't teaching how to code, especially in the digital media department, knew how to code and were able to help me even when I had like questions about real life work questions. Till this day, I'm able to email them and reach out, and they're able to guide me even if they don't understand. So I would definitely seek out internships. Definitely dedicate time, like even if it's just a day, to just kind of like think to yourself, like, what do I want to do? What do I want to practice? And how do I get there? How do I learn? There's so many resources online um, that really like simplify the experience for you. And if you're able to have like, let's say at least one language, like Java, the baby of like all languages, like if you're able to have like one language set, you're able to learn different languages. It's not like you're starting from the ground up. They all have like a common theme to them. So I think, just learning and seeking out an internship or seeking out your professors or even a club. I think joining a club would be such an amazing opportunity. I was a part of two clubs within a span of, I believe, 2 or 3 years. One club ended up evolving to a different club, but I was still part of that club. And I just feel like that allowed me to just reserve time throughout my like college years to actually think about what I wanted to do. And if I would have never joined that club, I don't think I would have made the time or the space to actually once a month or whatever think about like, okay, I'm blogging this. Is this something that I want to do? What more do I want to do? What other interests do I have? So yeah, that's my recommendation, and it's fun.
Mhm. And you mentioned that you have expertise in different languages. Can you please tell us what those are, and can you elaborate on each one?
Yes, so I started off with HTML, CSS, and that's essentially just I guess how you build like a framework of anything. Like HTML is just kind of like your basic um, system of how to code. CSS is more of the design. So essentially, having those two language, or I guess having that knowledge, assisted me in being able to create websites or design things and have more of that perspective. Eventually, I ended up adding in JavaScript, which deals more with like the functionality of and behavior of a site or anything really. But in my case, it was usually websites or anything in that realm. And so I was able to learn that, pick up a little bit of that just because I started incorporating, like, for example, like a comment section or if someone taps this, make sure it takes them here. So that was something that really, like, those are the first three languages that I learned that took me very far. Like, and to this day, they still take me very far. And now, through my work experiences, I was able to learn. I'm learning Java, still learning, able to learn Java. There's different frameworks that different companies use. React and Python are really, really popular right now out in the real world. So that's a little like like if you want to learn, that's those are two really good assets. Not a lot of people know about them, and companies are so eager to hire anyone that has any React background or even Python. And it's more object programming language, which deals a lot more with like the data and the back end of the development world. So as of now, those are majority of the languages I've learned and I've practiced. I'm sure I've picked up a little bit of this or a little bit of that along the ways, but this is just something that I practice now within my current role. So yeah, JavaScript, Selenium. I'm currently learning Selenium, and it's another little framework. So you're always learning. You don't have to feel like you need to know everything at once. If you can just start with one, that's enough.
Yeah, so you would say that this role has a lot of a constant learning process.
Exactly, because majority of our tasks or our projects are very based on strategy and trial and error. We can go into it having like a specific goal in mind, and once we have access to, like, let's say, more information, like maybe data or even practice, be able to formulate a code to best find like whatever result we're trying to get. And then throughout the process we realize, oh, actually we want something else. We have to go back into the learning zone and be like, okay, how does one obtain this? Where do I go? We use a lot of, like, resources online till this day. A lot of the resources that I learned in school, I still use them now. Companies use them now. So I think Texas State does such a great job at creating, at least from my degree standpoint, creating a very well-rounded individual. I can't even imagine what it would be like, knowing exactly what I want to do and pursuing that head on. Like, I can't even. I feel like I would have come out a little like a little computer programming robot. But
Yes. And now shifting the conversation a little bit, what was the hardest part about transitioning to the work world after graduation?
that's such a good question, because I till this day I still struggle with it. Um, but imposter syndrome, I feel like, and especially being a woman and a woman of color in a male dominated space, male dominated career, and it was navigating that process of feeling worthy, feeling like I know enough or I'm qualified enough to be there, or even if I felt qualified enough, holding space in rooms and being able to have a voice has been one of, like, the most difficult journeys for me personally. And it's something that I practice every day. I've learned that I've made mistakes throughout, my experience, where I wouldn't communicate that, or I would just kind of like push it to the side, or I would overcompensate for my feelings and, like, overly compensate, like show up extra early or do things like that, which in turn did assist or help in certain ways. But I feel like essentially now, I guess, from my past experiences, communicating with your mentors or finding a mentor within your company, or even your boss. Like, I established uh, my boss or my mentor, I guess. I would say boss, but she is always on the go, right? And she's always coding, she's always doing her thing on her own. And for me, like, that communication um, practice wasn't very effective for me, because I'm a learner. I want to learn. I want to be better. I want to know. You know, her the way she approaches things is, oh, if it's not an emergency, like, you don't need to know. I'm sure you'll figure it out. But for me, like, I love constructive criticism. I love feedback. It helps me learn and grow. It takes me out of, like, being in a limbo state of, like, am I doing this right? Am I not? Like, what should I do more? Should I do less? So I established, like, communication where, hey, let's meet twice a week for 1 hour and let's just talk. And it could be about life, it could be about anything really. And because of that, I've been able to adapt her communication skills to mine, and in a way also adapt to her communication skills, where she's not actively every day willing to have like a 2 hour, 1 hour long chat. So I've had to like learn how to navigate that journey and, you know, being able to communicate with people or even like someone higher than you and then being able to tell you like, I think you're doing a great job. I think you should do better or you should work on this. But I think, you know, I'm seeing your improvements. I'm seeing your growth. I'm blah, 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 blah. That really helps aid or feed or not feed my imposter syndrome, but almost like aid in like the release of it. So that's one of the greatest challenges that I've had. And these are kind of like how I've navigated these feelings in the real world space. Obviously, it's still a journey, and you know, and I'm still learning, but also being able to create bonds with your colleagues, um, coworkers, stay in touch with like friends that are pursuing, even if it's different degrees or careers in different spaces, and having those conversations with your friends, especially if you're like a woman or a person of color, just having those conversations. I think those are very important because if anything, it just alleviates any stress and it helps you be more focused and worry less about trying to impress or make an impression and more about your work and learning and being better and realizing that it's okay to make mistakes and it's okay to make 3 mistakes, 4, 5 mistakes every single day until you figure it out. That is completely fine. Like that is expected. So yeah, those are just a little bit of a couple of things that I've learned throughout my journey as a developer within different
Yes, thank you
companies.
so much for sharing these experiences. I believe that they will be really meaningful for other students that are seeking digital media innovation or are interested in becoming a programmer at American Airlines or any other company.
Mhm.
And for final remarks, I want to ask you, what was something that you loved about being a student at Texas State?
Mhm. I believe that Texas State creates a sense of community, or maybe I came into tech, like into the university with that perspective, and maybe that's what shifted my experience. But I think they practice a lot about how to make it like create a community, and I really feel like because of that, I was able to get really far. I was constantly listening, like even within orientation or when I would speak to professors, I was constantly listening with ears of wanting to grow and be better and decide what I wanted to do with my life and figure out like how can I turn this education and actually create success from it. Like that was always at the back of my mind, even if it was something that I was practicing every single day, you know. So I think Texas State offers great resources if you seek them out. Sometimes they're like screaming like right in front of you, like, "Hey, please join here." And there's many of those times where I didn't do it or I didn't see. But whenever I did get into that like state where I did want to learn and I did want to like figure it out, Texas State was a wonderful opportunity for me. So I love that. I feel like there's so many people that come out of Texas State and create success. Like that exists. Like there's so many different like you'd be surprised. Like in Arizona, like I've met like an alumni and you just meet people that like really do come out of that school and really do big things. So um, just kind of feel proud of that and just really I guess if you just have those ears to learn and you have that like feeling and strength and determination, I feel like you can really accomplish anything. But seeking resources is top priority. Clubs are so much fun. I did a club and I loved it, and it kept me in that like zone of like always coming back and being able to like practice what I enjoy without it feeling like it was a class. um, yeah, being involved is
Yes, I'm
important.
glad that you mentioned the importance of joining organizations or just
Mhm.
different programs that are available for Texas State students because they're always a great resource to helping
Mhm.
you in your self discovery in the
Mhm.
professional world.
Even
And
after as well.
yes,
Yes. I was
Samantha,
able
I
to.
want to thank you so much for being here today and
Mhm.
helping our students learn more about your career and possible ways to prepare for entering the STEM workforce.
Mhm. Oh, well, thank you very much. I was going to add this, but I believe the line cut off. I was going to say one last thing for the last question. Make connections with your professors because even now I'll still be able to send an email and they'll be able to help me if I have questions and I don't feel too comfortable asking someone within the workforce. Obviously, that's the goal. I'm still able to seek out and reach out to professors. So that's another thing to look for. But besides that, thank you so much for this great opportunity. I remember tuning into a live when I was in school and seeing someone, you know, post college and just like being able to dream and feel excited and ready. So it's really nice to kind of see myself on the other end now. Now I'm the person on the live, so that's interesting.
Yeah, and that's so inspirational, and I bet that you will be inspiring a lot of other young girls and young people. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today for this edition of Get Future Ready.
Mhm.
Have a great day and see you next time. If you're a student at Texas State working towards a career in STEM, please reach out to us so that we can help you navigate your STEM career development at Texas State. And you can find us on social at Texas State Gen STEM. Thank you so much.
Great, thank you. This was
Bye.
awesome. Bye.